Hi there, Martin Stone here from Switch On Health, and today I'm very happy to be joined by our latest graduate in naturopathy, who is Emily Lee from Perth in Western Australia. So, Emily, welcome.
Hello, Martin. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much for everything.
Thanks for giving up your time to come and have a chat with us. And obviously, first of all, congratulations on graduating.
Oh, thank you. I'm very excited. Been waiting for this day coming, and it's finally here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a
fantastic.
journey. It's been a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. So, look, Emily, I know you and I, we had a really good chat on the phone the other day. It's going to be really good for other people to hear a little bit about your story. Would you like to start off, I guess, by telling us, what led you to first study naturopathy with Switch On Health?
Yeah, okay. It was back in 2020, sort of when COVID just happened. My husband was diagnosed Hashimoto. But it was just a regular health check, and they found out his TSH was slightly high, and then they go in further and check what's happening. That's how we found out. But other than that, he didn't really have many symptoms. So at the time, I was really worried because his mom actually got Hashimoto as well. I just want to know what caused the problems and why he's not like the typical Hashimoto symptoms, but why we can't find out, I just really want to find out the root cause because the doctor wants to put him on medication and his mother didn't like the idea of medication, so herself was using the service of naturopath and also using diets and supplement to manage her TSH and the antibody, and it has been working for her. So my husband started with very similar protocol, um, but not seeing a naturopath. He was actually seeing a friend of mine who's a nutritionist. And so at the time, that really sort of encouraged me to learn more and read more, and then eventually led me into a study nutrition. So it was started as a nutrition course I was looking at to help him. Then, so then I found out online, there's so many schools around, and I was like, okay, there's Endeavour, there's a Switch on Health, there's a Natural Care College, I believe there was three of you, and there's also all these little ones I'm not so sure about. There's so many of them. I probably went through about six schools online. And then Endeavour was the only one in Perth. So I think I was just doing, like the comparison in the programs. And I think like Switch on Health sort of stands out a bit among the other online school. And of course, I like the idea of studying online because it gives me flexibility. At the time, I was working full time as a remedial therapist. I own a clinic. So it was actually not easy to having to work and then go to an actual school. So Endeavour was out of my picture at the time. So I like the idea of flexibility online. I look at your program and I think probably the biggest thing jumped out was we had a chat. We actually had a chat on the phone at the time. And I really like what you say, on the phone. I recall we were sort of talking about, like I could just go online and learn all these things. Everybody can do that, but it's a structure. It's a structure that the school provided us, with the different kind of subjects and sort of integrate together. So to help us to piece everything together and learn everything easier than just go online and learn a bit of this, a bit of that. But you kind of know something, but you don't know anything in that way. And I think we had a bit of conversation about, what's the differences between just do a Googling and search information online versus coming to study with Switch Up Health. And I think that really convinced me, this is a proper school and everything I believe I can really feel how much you're passionate about, educating the next naturopath, next herbalist, and homeopath. You're really passionate and believe in the health industry. And I think that's probably what brought me towards the college. And but the whole reason was because my husband had a diagnosis, and I was really like, oh, what can I do, to look after him and to help him along the way as well. Yeah, so that was a story. But I think I always had an interest in health in general because the industry I was in, being a remedial therapist, I could see firsthand how powerful the natural therapy can be just by, moving the muscles, reduce the stress, and the pain just naturally went away with a simple hour of massage. And it was very powerful, more powerful than painkiller in a lot of cases I have seen, I gotta say. So I think I was always had that belief system in me of natural therapy can work. And I think then I had come across the program with nutrition. Then I believe I wanted to do more and learn more. So then I upgraded my course to naturopathy, and that's what led to me today.
Awesome. There's so many things I could say here. First of all, I'll say for the benefit of anybody watching this, actually wasn't expecting that answer from Emily because we didn't talk about that at all the other day. So I've just heard a completely new story from her. This is definitely not rehearsed or scripted. Didn't know any of this about your husband. Um, so, gosh, where do I begin? Well, look, funnily enough, I used to be a massage therapist as well. That's how I started. Emily and I talked a little bit about this on the phone the other day. My journey into natural therapies began as a massage therapist at the time, just because I thought it would be a nice thing to be able to do for my friends. I wasn't even really thinking of it as a career. And, for me, when I started getting exposed to how we can help people with their health naturally, doesn't have to be medicines, pharmaceuticals, whatever, but just naturally, like Emily said, we can do something really simple with somebody for an hour and their pain goes away. And yeah, for me, that's what opened my eyes into this world of complementary medicine. Um,
Yeah,
so you first got into it. Um, I'm trying to unpack everything you said there. You first got into it because of your husband. You were interested in how you could help him nutritionally based on his mother's experience as well. And
yeah,
then having started nutrition with us, I guess that sort of opened the door. And then you were like, okay, well, I can actually do a lot more if I incorporate herbal medicine and homeopathy and become a naturopath.
yeah. Yeah, that's what happened after 1 year of studying nutrition with switch on health. I just feel like, okay, there's so much more I can learn and do being a naturopath. And I was scared, at the time, thinking of, wow, the program is a lot more in comparison to nutrition. So I wasn't sure whether I was able to do it all, but that thoughts of being able to do more and learn more, and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Awesome. Pretty much what happened to me. I started with massage and then I was like, actually, I want to learn it all. So I was like, what's the biggest course you've got? Naturopathy, sign me up.
Yeah,
That's kind of what happened to me. So
yeah,
Emily, you've touched on this a little bit. We talked a little bit about this on the phone the other day. So you started with nutrition, upgraded into naturopathy. Um,
yeah,
I guess you've already sort of mentioned we provide that structure for you, as you're going through. So you're not just sort of getting exposed to, all sorts of different information out there on the internet, but, you've got a methodical path to follow. Um,
right.
but for anybody watching this, I guess, tell us a little bit about, you know, we've heard what sort of led you to study with us. How was the overall experience, that journey with Switch On Health?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great. So first of all, I think the quality of the tutors, the lectures are very high, and I think the content the school provided was like really professional because the information you provided was a lot for me. I mean, I don't know. I had no comparison to others, but I feel like it was a lot to learn, and you got all the journal articles, all the reference book. They were pretty professionally. I think they were structured really well, and it was. I loved the most was I recall back in time was probably the chemistry component. There's a lot of videos. I loved it. I never liked chemistry that much, but because all this, you utilize so many different tools. And I think the video is one of those things I found I can visualize and learn better with it rather than reading the book. So it helped me to actually learn faster and better. And I actually enjoy so much. I was like, oh, wow, chemistry can be so interesting and it's not boring at all. And I definitely, I think, in terms of content, they all very professional. The school support were excellent. If I'm to only complain, like I said to you the other day, was a lot to learn for me at the time as a student. I was like, oh my God, it was overwhelming. But then when I finished, I was like, wow, I'm benefited from it. I know a lot of things, and thanks to the school, because you don't just, you know, cut the corners and try to make it easy for students just so we can pass and get a paper. You actually try to, provide all the correct information and all the right steps to build our knowledge along the way, so we are ready by the time we finish our study. And I think that was at the time as a student when I was learning, I was like, wow, there's a lot, so much to read, and you know, so little time, and I was struggling a little bit and feeling overwhelming. Also, as I said, English wasn't really my first language, so it makes it a little harder for me to learn. But I feel like your content, how you structure the course, made it easier for me, and which I was really glad I chose Switch on Health. And the support were wonderful. Always get an email, get checked in. How's your study going? Anything you would like help? We are always here for you. And then every time I have a questions, I throw it out there, and I always hear back from you, or I always hear back from Christine. Like any kind of questions that I have, particularly, I'm curious about what's going on. Like something I need someone to explain a bit deeper, a bit more. um, there's a platform in our study content I really like, which is that message box. I can instantly type and raise any questions as I'm learning. I can say, hello, I'm at this unit. What lesson is this? And I'll tell you what questions I have. Then immediately any of you will jump in and answer, I think within a day or two. And it was pretty good. I like that feature a lot. It's convenient for me rather than go and write big emails. Sometimes I do that, but not very often. But yeah, the school overall is amazing. You got a huge team now, especially I think quite a comprehensive team. Got people doing different things. But even back then, when I first started with the college, it was there's quite a lot of you already around, and I can ask a lot of questions. And I think even submitting assignment wasn't that easy to pass. I often have to constantly changing my answers because I think that's where we actually learn is that you gave us feedback and say, can you describe a bit more? Can you do a bit more of this? Can you include more of that? And I think that's kind of I've been practicing that since the first year and continues throughout my final year. So I feel like I'm quite familiar with the requirement and constantly thinking like, oh, there's so many things that I actually never thought about. I should write like this or do this way or include that. But then, the feedback I get to make me start thinking more. There's so many options out there we forget while we were writing all these assignment or plan a recipe or whatever, like all this important feedback along the way, I think it just slowly making us better and better, and until the day we finish. And I feel like, look, I can't say I'm 100% prepared, but I feel I'm definitely more confident now in comparison to say a year ago almost, because this final year was actually pretty important for us because of the practical component. You sort of start actually putting things in practice, all the things we learned at the first year and the second year. And in the third year, you start, you know, start thinking, okay, how am I going to prescribe supplements? All these nutrients we learned back in time, how are we going to address these conditions? And then so the final year is actually very exciting for me because it's more practical, and I always love practical component. I also enjoy the theory part of thing, but I feel like the practical is the most exciting part for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That was beautiful. Thanks, Emily. And yeah, look, you're right. That final year is where we do really bring it all together. And I think it'll be good for other people to hear you say this because we know that sometimes, I suppose, a typical sort of journey is that people in their first year, they're really excited and enthusiastic and they're like, yay, I'm going to be a naturopath or a homeopath or whatever. And then in second year, it's like, okay, this is quite a long haul, there's a lot to learn here. And then in the third year is when it all starts coming together. So I think it's natural for people to sort of question or doubt themselves a little bit when they're halfway through and they're thinking, like, how am I ever going to get there? I think
Yeah,
that's fairly normal, fairly common. And, we're looking at a few ways in which we can kind of bring that, bring more of the sort of practical application forward so that people are getting more exposure to it earlier on in the course. And yeah, look, what I know when we spoke on the phone the other day, you said the content was very thorough and there was like a lot to learn, and
well, at the time feels like a lot. Yeah, yeah. But now
yeah,
I say it was
mm,
great. I actually had to go through all that to build the knowledge.
yeah, beautiful. I guess, one of the reasons we do this is, it's our reputation as a college, but it's also your reputation as a switch on health practitioner, and we think this is so important that,
Yeah,
when you're out there in practice, when you're at networking events with other naturopaths or other health professionals, that if they say to you, where did you study? And you say switch on health, and what we want is for them to go, wow, you must be good, like I've heard that college really delivers a lot, and so yeah,
yeah,
that's what we're really aiming for. Not just the reputation of the college, but your future reputation as a practitioner for sure.
yeah. Thank you for putting like so much effort and all the support. And I think that's, and also, all the flexibility we get from this study. I think it was what kept me going as well. I think life is very challenging as it is working and study. And if there's, extra pressure on the deadlines and, the target to be met, I think that's gonna make it harder as well. Because we are at the different age of learning. When we were students, you just go to school and study, and it was easier. And now you had to make income and study. And so I feel like, it was definitely the right choice of choosing Switch on Health to have that extra flexibility, and then the support still there because you don't just study at home. We can instantly connect with you and any other lecture when we needed the support. And that was really good. That's what I like about Switch on Health.
That's beautiful. Thanks, Emily. We hear this a bit, people like to be able to fit their studies in around the rest of their life, you know.
Yeah.
We're all busy these days. We've all got a lot of stuff going on, and
Yeah.
yeah, we think that flexibility is important. Um,
Yeah.
it can be a bit of a double-edged sword, if there's too much flexibility, nothing ever
Yeah.
gets done. So
Yeah.
yeah, we try to hit that sweet spot that
Yeah.
balance, between the flexibility and the support, and making sure that you do keep going, that,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to graduate or not? Get a move on.
Depends on how long I want to take to graduate.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got to say, like we've loved having you as a student, and you've always asked these questions where we can tell, okay, like you're really drilling down into this, and you're wanting to find out the answer, and you're questioning what we're telling you, and saying like, is this true? Because da 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 da, and then you're bringing out these peer-reviewed articles for us to read. I love it. It shows how engaged
Thank
you are.
you.
So now that you've done the hard yards, you've got your certificate. I don't know if it's turned up in the mail yet. Did it turn? Not yet. Okay, it's on its way. It is in the mail. Metaphorically speaking, you've got your certificate. Um, I know you're going to have a short break first of all, but what's next? What's next for Emily?
Um, so I'm quite lucky. So the final mentor I am with, Christine, she's from Kalgoorlie in WA. So I flew down to Kalgoorlie and caught up with her in person, and she offered me an opportunity, which is work in Perth, but by teleconsult for her clients, in Kalgoorlie. So that's a very lovely start, a good opportunity for me to actually still stay connected with Christine because she could still be there and mentor me at the same time. We can discuss questions. And I think for me, I had a business before, so I was always working for myself. So originally, I was planning to just start a business. Like everyone else would think, okay, now we graduate, now we're gonna start a business. So that was my original plan. But this new plan just came in last week, a few days ago. And I was just very happy to take it because I think I'm very lucky to have someone, experienced practitioner happy to offer me an opportunity and guide me along the way while I'm working in the team with her, and then I can still have the opportunity to have her as a mentor. That was amazing offer she gave it to me. And of course, I'll probably still do a little bit of my stuff on the side, just like a still like my business, sort of working a little bit to see how I can build up slowly with my business for the next few weeks. So that's a plan so far. It doesn't have a huge business plan, but it's something to start with. I'm quite happy with that.
That sounds perfect. So this is great. So I guess for people watching this, most people will probably know that a requirement of the course is that you do complete these practical hours. And, some
Yeah,
people find this a little bit daunting or scary. And, what we're
yeah,
hearing from you, Emily, is that, you know, this practical component of the course has turned into this opportunity
yeah,
really to sort of, it's like this smooth transition into your career as a new naturopath. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. So yeah, it was quite unexpected, and I always think it would be great. I'm open for any opportunity. It would be great to work with someone or for someone or work for myself. I am open for any suggestion, and this opportunity came along, and my mentor just like really open, and she accepted me, and she believes in me, and I feel amazing to have this opportunity. So I was, yeah, very happy to sort of just, yeah, just I don't know, ready to work. I'm ready to work.
I love it. It's heartwarming to hear you say that. It's beautiful. It really is. Yeah. And
Yeah,
obviously, thanks to Christine, your mentor and supervisor. If Christine, you happen to watch this little
yeah,
interview with Emily, and thank you for mentoring her throughout her studies and continuing to do so. What a great opportunity. Yeah. So I guess to wrap up, Emily, if somebody was thinking about studying with Switch on Health and they weren't quite sure, what would you say to them?
I'll definitely say just go for it. If you're already thinking about it, meaning you've thought about it, and you can ask yourself what drives you, what inspire you to be in this industry. And if you are interested in nature health, then it's something you can use as a career, but also it's for personal interest, whatever reason you have. If you're thinking about it, just do it, because you will be in the industry with all these like-minded people, and you will learn so much. And it's very rewarding industry as well. It's something, I never look back. Like now, I was just so happy I have done it. It was a questions at the time 5 years ago. I was thinking about, can I do naturopathy? I don't think I could. And eventually I'll say, okay, let's give it a go. And then I did it. But if you think about doing it, then just give Martin a call, and he will make you feel like it's worth it, because the passion, the school, everyone has towards nature health will really make you feel like you want to be part of it, part of the industry. I think, and we can do so much for other people, not just work as naturopath. I think even just a personal knowledge, you can help your family, help your kids, friends, whoever, because you got that knowledge there, and it's so useful. It doesn't have to be a career, it could be just for personal interest as well. So if you would like to study and learn more, learn with Switch on Health, like Martin always said, the slogan.
Very good, Emily. You've learned it after 5 years with us. You know my little, everybody should know it by now.
Yeah, the
I love it.
slogan. Learn more with Switch on Health.
We could keep chatting for hours, Emily. Maybe we should wrap it up there. But any final words? What about the people that are actually studying with us at the moment? We've got a lot of people studying with us, a lot of people in their first year. Like I said, sometimes people doubt themselves and they think, oh, can I do it? Can I make it? There's so much to learn. Any parting words of wisdom for them?
If they're already in there and they probably struggle and doubting themselves, I would say hanging there, keep going, don't give up, because it's worth it towards the end. It is very hard, I gotta say. I have been there. It was challenging, it was difficult, but it's something you learn and you will be with you for the rest of your life. And you don't want to give up, because the reward is so great the day when you finish. The amount of knowledge you have learned and accumulated along the way, it's nothing you can compare. I think don't give up, just keep going. And if you have a doubt, talk to Martin or talk to anybody from Switch on Health as well. They will reassure you and support you. And I think, for whatever reason, if you had to take a pause, but never quit. Just keep going. I think you will do. You'll be able to do it. Everybody, you can do it.
That's a beautiful little pep talk. Thank you, Emily. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, yes, I can do it. Yeah,
If
because
I
they
can
can.
do it, you can do it.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Well, look, Emily, what can I say? Congratulations once again. And
Thank you.
yeah, look, like I say, we've loved having you on this journey with us and, taking you really right from the beginning all the way through and watching you, grow and develop and ask those questions and learn. And, you've been really receptive to feedback along the way. It's been an absolute pleasure having you study with us. And I
Thank
think we're going to
you.
hear a bit more from Emily. I don't think this is the last we'll see of her. So yeah, and obviously we wish you the very best with your exciting new career as a naturopath.
Thank you very much, Martin, and thank you everyone from Switch on Health. Can do without you all. And it's my pleasure to study with you as well.
Excellent. Would you like to do the little slogan for us to sign off?
What is that?
You know, my little slogan, what I always say at the end of every video.
Oh, oh yes. Learn more with Switch on Health.
You got it.